and I am the chair of the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce. So nice to see you this afternoon. We've got a great program today that we're really excited about and some esteemed guests. So I'd like to welcome our guests that we'll be hearing from later. So welcome, and we'll introduce them. And I'd like to thank such a great crowd for being here. That's terrific. We'd like to start by doing the Pledge of Allegiance. So if I could ask you to stand up and turn toward the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. All right, before we begin today, I would like to recognize the Chamber sponsors, and you will see them scrolling on the screen. And we'll have a round of applause when I'm finished. So I'd like to first recognize the legacy sponsors. So that's First State Bank, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, DoubleTree by Hilton Bay City Riverfront, Independent Bank, McLaren Bay Region, Michigan Sugar Company, Three Rivers Corporation, and Thumb Bank and Trust. So give a round of applause for those. Then I would like to recognize the premier sponsors. So that's Chemical Bank, Consumer Energy, Covenant Healthcare, Cumulus Media, Dow, Financial Edge Credit Union, Great Lakes Federal Credit Union, Harbor Life Photography, Spence Brothers, and Wildlife Credit Union. And give a round of applause. And to recognize our community partners, so that's Great Lakes Bay Michigan Works, Great Lakes Bay Regional Convention and Visitors Bureau, Saginaw Valley State University. So give a round of applause again, please. And then our visionary leaders, and that's AT&T and Mid-Michigan Health. So one more round of applause. We also have a list of event sponsors, which we're grateful for. And again, they'll be scrolling on the screen. So that's Associated Builders and Contractors, Greater Michigan Chapter, Bangor Township Schools, Bay City Bridge Partners, Blue Cross Blue Shield of Michigan, Chemical Bank, Consumers Energy, Essexville Hampton Public Schools, Great Lakes Bay Regional Convention and Visitors Bureau, Huntington Bank, Michigan Sugar Company, Mid-Michigan Health, and Thumb Bank and Trust. So one more time. So now I'd like to introduce my esteemed colleague, Jeff Stodiker, Financial Advisor for Edward Jones and Chair-elect and Vice Chair of Public Affairs for the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, and he's going to introduce.
Thanks, Ellen. The first thing I'd like to do is welcome our government officials and dignitaries. First of all, Matthew Burling, Office of the Senator Kevin Daly, Ashana Walraven, the Bay County Treasurer, Joseph Rivet, our Bay County Drain Commissioner, our County Commissioners, Michael Duranchek, Vaughn Gick, and Tom Ryder, and of course our Mayor Kathy Newsom, City Commissioners, Carice Benjamin, I'll get that, Chris Gerard, that's an easy one, Kristen McDonald Rivet, Andrew Nijinsky, I know the Polish names from the south end of Bay City, and Michael Shashini, our Public Safety Director, Terry Close from Hampton Township, their Supervisor, Glenn Rowley, our Bangor Township Supervisor, and Veronica Horn, President and CEO of the Saginaw County Chamber of Commerce. So I'd like to welcome all those here. The first thing I'm supposed to do is go over our guidelines or our process. Each speaker is allowed 15 minutes for general comments. That's 1-5, Jim, not 5-0. Jim Barsha, County Executive, will be our first presenter, followed by Dana Moscott, the City Manager. A Q&A will follow. That will be facilitated by Seth Perigo, the Community President, Great Lakes Bay Region for Huntington Bank. And that will take place after Jim and Dana's presentations. There should be note cards on your tables or index cards. If you have questions for Dana, Jim, or both, please write if they're for one person or the other on the card. And Chamber team members will collect the cards after Dana Muscat's presentation. So the first person I'd like to introduce is Jim Barsha. Jim was born in Bay City and a lifelong resident of Bay County. He attended Bay City Central High School and then graduated from Saginaw Valley State University in 1974 with a degree in public administration. He has served 3 terms as state representative for Bay County, 5 terms in the Michigan Senate, 5 terms in U.S. Congress for the 5th Congressional District, and on November 16th was elected as the new Bay County Executive. He participates in numerous civics organizations throughout the community. He was elected in the County Executives of America's Board of Directors in 2017 and was appointed to their National Task Force on Opioid Abuse. Mr. Barsha has an ambitious agenda to help advance our region economically and to improve government services for Bay County residents. So Jim, I'll be timekeeper.
Thank you for that kind introduction, Jeff. And I want to say what a pleasure it is for me to be here. And I'd like to thank Ryan for having me here today to again speak to such a distinguished group of community leaders, and also to congratulate Ryan and his wonderful staff on the being named the 2019 Outstanding Chamber of the Year by the Michigan Association of Chamber Professionals. Today we have hopefully it'll go smoothly with Rebecca at the controls, a little PowerPoint to kind of give you a little visual, appreciation for what we're trying to do and talking about up here today. So I'll start with our veterans, our new, and I will be brief, Jeff, and I want to cover a few of the highlights of 2019 in Bay County government, as well as taking a look at some of the challenges that we face and how we can work to better our community in 2020. This progress would not be possible without the leadership of the Bay County Board of Commissioners, our county-wide elected officials, and the dedication of our county staff. Could I please have the county elected officials stand to be recognized? I know they've been announced, but would you like to take one more bow? Our county elected officials, if you just, okay, thank you. Okay. Created in 2019, the Department of Veterans Affairs is better equipped to serve our veterans through transportation services, emergency financial relief, and guidance to their entitled benefits. Grant funding was utilized to renovate office space on the first floor of the county building, providing improved visibility and access to the public. Also, a Veteran Affairs Committee was established and meets monthly. It is comprised of honorably discharged veterans to provide oversight over department activities and serve as a crucial communication link with the various veterans organizations throughout the county. Our Department of Veterans Affairs this year is in line to receive another $90,000 grant, which we plan to use to purchase 2 new vans for transporting our vets to medical appointments. Since the opening of the office, we have seen a significant increase in the number of veterans contacting staff for assistance on issues that we can help with. Another issue, which I think a lot of you know is near and dear to my heart and a lot of you, and that is our animal shelter continues to improve. Congratulations to Director Craig Gillette, the dedicated staff, and numerous volunteers who have invested their valuable time and resources to transform our shelter and adoption center into one of the best in the state. We are doing so well that the Michigan Association of Counties has added a breakout session at their spring legislative conference in Lansing to share our strategies with other counties. Craig and I, along with Deb Shutt, the CEO of the Pet Fund Alliance of Michigan, will be presenting. The Bay County Animal Services and Adoption Center has continued to uphold its no-kill status at 97%. And has vastly improved its communication with the public through community partnerships and social media. We are able to provide very affordable adoption rates. $25 for a dog, $15 for a cat. Through a partnership with All About Animals and the Bissell Foundation, who fund the spaying, neutering, and vaccination of our animals. Another partnership with Saginaw is with Saginaw Correctional Facilities Iron Paws program, where inmates train the dogs and provide them with a path to adoption as companion animals for people in need. Additional events held at the center and within the community include the Catnip Cafe, yoga with shelter dogs, and various businesses, schools, and local offices hosting visiting shelter dogs for adoption. These events provide exercise, stress relief, and disease prevention during their stay. And one of the more popular activities is our new dog walking program, which celebrity walker Dan Kildee participated in earlier this year. Along with providing primary care to our local residents without health insurance through our Bay County Health Clinic, we will soon be opening a new clinic to address the issue of oral health as it relates to overall health for our residents. Last year, over 1,900 emergency room visits at McLaren Bay were due to severe dental pain and abscessed teeth. Our health department, under the capable leadership of Director Joel Strauss and My Community Dental Centers, partnered to provide a new 4-chair dental clinic on Center Avenue with 2 full-time dentists and a full staff to serve the needs of the estimated 3,600 people that will be seen the first year of operation. The clinic will make a life-changing difference for our neighbors who would otherwise not have access to dental care by offering reduced fees for those without dental insurance based on household income. Approximately 50% of our population in Bay County are on Medicare or Medicaid, neither of which provide dental coverage. The clinic will be 100% federally funded at no cost to Bay County taxpayers and should open by early summer. The plan to renovate Center Ridge Arms has also taken a step forward with MISTA's pre-approval and the anticipated approval from HUD in Washington in time for the work to begin by late spring. This much-needed partnership with MHT Housing, Inc. will provide our housing residents with a better quality of living with a federally funded $5 million renovation of the complex. And as you may know, Bay County's revenue is generated by property taxes and other limited revenue sources. As you can see by the graph, inflation has increased more rapidly than taxable values since the 2008 economic downturn. So how does Bay County fill the gap while continuing to provide the same level of services to its constituents? Well, our staff is diligent about seeking all possible federal and state sources to supplement our budget and maintain quality services. In 2019, Bay County's estimated federal and state operating grants and contributions adds up to $11.4 million. This doesn't account for the grants we receive from local organizations. And also, Bay County is looking at the probable need to work with municipalities as well as the state and federal government to address issues caused by Michigan's rising waters. Hats off to Supervisor Glenn Rowley for his major role in organizing this effort to mitigate what we anticipate to be severe public and private property damage caused by disastrous flooding this summer. Any large rain event or strong northeast wind can cause water levels to swell abruptly by several feet, and the lakes are expected to rise by 11 inches by June or July. This will be the highest lake level ever recorded in the Great Lakes in 120 years since they started measuring lake levels. County Emergency Management is working with municipalities to schedule informational public meetings with state and federal agencies. The distribution of tens of thousands of sandbags and evacuation and rescue plans are being developed with local fire departments. On another note, our Bay County Treasurer, Shauna Walraven, is partnering with the Bay County Land Bank, City of Bay City, and the Bay City Housing Commission to launch a joint revitalization project. As we all know, removal of blight is essential to improving our community. The Bay City Housing Commission is funding the demolition of blighted homes in our neighborhoods, which were tax foreclosed properties provided by the Bay County Treasurer. This blight removal will help reduce crime and provides opportunity for future development. And also, Hampton Township recently received a federal EDC grant as a coal-impacted community. It is a strategy for new business development in light of the decommissioning of the Carn-Weddock plant, which is scheduled to completely close in 2023. I am proud to serve on the steering committee with Supervisor Terry Close and many others for this initiative as we attempt to lessen financial fallout from Bay County's largest property tax payer. And also, a Saginaw Bay Access Grant was also recently awarded by the Bay Area Community Foundation, which will revitalize and provide better access to the waterfront at Linwood Road in Fraser and Colquhoun Townships. It will provide family-friendly access to the Saginaw Bay, a portable fishing dock, and a kayak launch. And as you know, 2020 marks another decennial census. It is important that everyone is counted. Nationally, over $800 billion is distributed to communities across the country through federal allocations based on census data. Being counted will help our community create jobs, provide housing, help fund K-12 education, and prepare for emergencies. Census data also determines how many seats Michigan gets in Congress. Right now, Michigan is at risk of losing another congressional seat and, of course, the redrawing of congressional and state legislative boundaries for those districts. For our part, the Health Department and Department on Aging will be providing kiosks for the public to fill out the census forms, which for the first time will be offered online. And I would like to end with Bay Future's most recent strategy for economic development. Bay Future Drive Forward is a plan of action that will strengthen our public-private partnerships to promote long-term economic development in Bay County. And as of February 5th, Bay Future has raised 66% of its $2.5 million goal. What a great achievement to reach since the campaign kicked off just last December 11th. The initiative is both aggressive and comprehensive and will build even further upon the historic successes achieved in the last Bay Future campaign. Some goals of the initiative are to ramp up our regional business recruitment, expand our support for business-creating entrepreneurs, and partner with other vital regional organizations in support of our workforce. It is imperative for the future of Bay County that Bay Future's Drive Forward campaign reaches its goal. It will help create the high-paying jobs that we need to retain our younger generation, as well as recruit new families to the area. Good luck, Trevor Keys and staff, on another successful campaign, and I look forward to your questions and any comments you would like to share. Was that 15 minutes? 12 minutes. Hey, 12 minutes.
Again, as a reminder, there are index cards in the middle of your table. Please write down any questions, and the chamber volunteers will come by and pick them up. Next, I get to introduce Dana Moscott. Dana works for the City of Bay City as city manager. She served as deputy city manager for the City of Bay City for 13 years. She began her employment with the City of Bay City in 2000 as a city clerk and was promoted to the deputy city manager position in 2004. She worked for Saginaw Charter Township as deputy city clerk prior to coming to Bay City. And after attending Michigan State University, Dana obtained her Master Municipal Clerk status in 2005, and in 2014 earned the prestigious Certified Michigan Municipal Clerk status. Dana was elected as president of the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks in 2008 and is also the past president of the Bay County Clerks. Dana is a graduate of Leadership Saginaw County and the Great Lakes Bay Region Leadership Institute. Dana is a certified public manager through Saginaw Valley University and a graduate of the Henry Marsh Institute for Public Policy at SVSU. She is a member of the Bay City Noon Optimist Club and volunteers for many other organizations. She also serves as a board member for the following Michigan municipalities executives: Bay Future, Bay County Convention and Visitors Bureau, Great Lakes Bay Regional Alliance, Michigan Municipal Risk Management Authority Planning Committee, and many more. Dana was the Clerk of the Year through the Michigan Association of Municipal Clerks in 2015, and Dana has been married for 26 years to Chris and has two sons, Cody and Connor, Cody 24 and Connor 21. Thankful we didn't start the timer before that. And now, welcome Dana.
I'm a little nervous about this timer thing because I think I might beat Jim this time. Well, good afternoon. I'd like to express my appreciation to the Chamber's Board of Directors and to Ryan Tarrant, President and CEO of the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, for this opportunity to share with you the state of our city. The state of our city is the state of each of us, everyone living and working in every part of our city, from the south end to the banks, the downtown to uptown, and from the east side to the west side. I would briefly like to take a moment to recognize our mayor and city commissioners who are present. It is with their support, hard work, and dedication to serve that this community continues to grow and prosper. Please hold your applause to the end. Mayor Kathleen Newsham, Commissioner Kristen McDonald-Rivet, Commissioner Carice Basmajian, Commissioner Christopher Gerard, and Commissioner Andrew Nazinski. I'd also like to acknowledge my family who's in attendance today, my parents Jim Mullador and Bob and Debbie Vandevenner. Making a meaningful difference is my greatest motivator. Every day I'm reminded of the important work we're involved in and how we are shaping our city. When I say we, I am referring to a team of individuals who care as deeply as I do in delivering effective services, which is energizing, rewarding, and quite frankly, a privilege. With that, I want to thank all our city staff members. I am proud that the city has a team that realizes that they can make an impact in our city, whether it's picking up residents' weekly rubbish, providing quality water, rescuing victims following a car accident, providing ethical elections, or helping senior citizens with a sidewalk issue. Working hard for something we don't care about is called stress. Working hard for something we love is called passion. We have that passion. Please stand and be recognized. The city staff, please. There's lots of you. Today, I feel proud to stand in front of all of you and report of all the good things that are happening. I feel like I should just start with the bridge topic, but I'm saving that for last, so all of you stay. Let's start with our neighborhoods. Through new challenges, but also new opportunities, we need to make sure our people's place in our city is secure. Our city is about architectural and public spaces. The movement that we want to make is about neighborhoods and people. neighborhoods that are accessible, safe, inclusive, clean, and affordable, an economy that extends opportunity to everyone, a city that preserves its history, character, and sense of community, even in the midst of negativity. That negativity, to me, is blight. To fight this issue, we hired an additional code enforcement officer to help address violations such as yard maintenance issues, inoperative motor vehicles, junk, trash, and debris. Our efforts are working. Last year, I reported that we had about 3,400 nuisance cases in 1 year. This year, we have about 2,700. It's a decline of 20%. With 162 tickets issued, and of those tickets, 65 went to court, and we prevailed 100%. We successfully kicked off our first year of Brighton Bay City's neighborhood Team Up to Clean Up by cleaning up 5 blighted properties with the help of city staff, citizen district council members, and volunteers. We have plans to continue that program this summer, making it blatantly clear we will not tolerate blight in our city. We have a high number of rentals in our city, with 2,300 buildings registered, incorporating 5,000 registered units. To address some of these issues that rentals present, we also hired an additional inspector and formed a committee with city staff and a group of landlords. I cannot express enough that if you are in our neighborhoods, if you see something, say something. We want to hear from you on the blight. We want to address that issue. We would like to recognize our partnership with Bay County Treasurer Shauna Walraven and the Bay City Housing Commission on fighting the blight issue, as they are helping the city stabilize our neighborhoods and demolish these blighted structures. Our Public Safety Department was created in 2013 and is a fully consolidated department of public safety providing 24-hour law enforcement, fire, and emergency medical service. The sworn civilian and volunteer staff of the Bay City DPS are committed to excellence and are dedicated to providing the best possible public safety services to citizens of Bay City and to all the people visiting our community. Director Cicchini named Kurt Karate as the new fire chief this past year, along with hiring 7 new firefighters, replacing those who had retired. They were successful in obtaining the Michigan Fire Training Council grant in the amount of $9,000 for flashover training. In 2019, our Part 1 and Part 2 crimes went down 6.8% and 11.3% respectively. The department believes in crime suppression, which includes reducing violent crimes, reducing property crimes, and increased officer visibility. Our community policing officers hosted many crime prevention suppression programs this past year, including bank robbery alarm training, blight recognition and elimination, drug take-back program, and the list can go on and on. Our Department of Public Safety works closely with the Bay County Sheriff's Office, Essexville Public Safety, Hampton Township Public Safety, the Michigan State Police, and the Bay City Schools. It's with these partnerships that our streets are safe, our residents are safe, our visitors are safe, and I applaud them for that. This past year, economic development staff worked with Goujon Brothers on their $426,000 expansion project, in which they retained 13 jobs and created 3 more. Shaheen Development started Uptown Phase 2, which is a multi-million-dollar investment in our community. In September, Uptown Phase 1 was awarded the Community Excellence Award, which is Michigan Municipal League's most prestigious award. Uptown is like nothing else in our city. It is home to several small and large businesses, including a marina, hotel, restaurants, and condominiums. It's that piece that connects uptown to downtown. It's that destination where numerous community events are held, including our Public Safety's National Night Out. There's rooftop yoga, musical acts, and catching special moments by taking those wedding and graduation pictures. This magnitude of investment shows that Shaheen Development has confidence in our city, as they have done great things on that once deserted 43-acre site. Shine Water, which is owned by Matthew Meehan and Rod Hildebrandt, moved its headquarters to downtown Bay City. Shine Water is a wellness and sports beverage company that has a strong presence in the southeastern part of the United States and can be found at Whole Foods, among others. They just locked down distribution for the entire state of Michigan and are working on many other states for plans to be nationwide by 2021. With their growth of their company, they created 9 new positions and are adding 5 more by the end of this month. The Dry Dock Beer Garden was added this past year in the privately owned Unity Park, which is collaboration between the State Theater and the Hell's Half Mile Film Festival. They created a place where their nonprofits, as well as other nonprofits, can use it to create sustainability within their organizations. The Winona Park Bandshell that was built in 1978 is being renovated as we speak and will be completed by June 1st. All funds were secured by foundations and private donations with no tax dollars being used. We have additional developments coming to the city, one which includes the Steinhaus Atrium project on Water Street. This is a $6.5 million investment in our downtown, which will be mixed use that includes residential. We're also happy to make the announcement for the first time that a new manufacturing business is coming to Bay City. City staff and Bay Future has been working diligently on this for the past year, and we're happy to announce that Wilkinson Minerals has purchased the riverfront property at 101 Picard and will invest $50 to $60 million. This company extracts brine to create salt products. They plan to hire 50 to 75 people during construction and 50 to 100 permanent employees, which will be living wage jobs. So that is huge for Bay City. We did a total road construction on Trumbull, Center to Woodside, which included storm sewer work, water main, sidewalks, curbs, and widening to 3 lanes for safety reasons. This MDOT project was a $2.8 million project with the city contributing $1.6. We are currently in the planning stages for a reconstruction of Winona Street, which is really needed, and that should begin in 2021. In response to the water tragedy in Flint, Eagle has mandated that all cities replace 5% of their lead lines a year. The city has over 14,000 services, and we're estimating that we need to replace about 6,000 of those services, as they all contain lead. With this mandate, the city will need to replace 300 services a year at an estimated cost of $4,000 per service for the next 20 years. This will cost the city about $24 million, and it'll have a huge impact on our budget. Jim had mentioned earlier, with the high water levels increasing over the last year, we've experienced major damage to our boat launches, Riverwalk, and our park areas. We had to close one of our major boat launches this past year due to those high water levels and are looking at floating dock options for this coming season. This isn't something only affecting Bay City, but also Bay County and also all of our shorelines around the state of Michigan. Municipal leaders are grouping together across the state to seek relief from the governor on this issue. We have additional outdoor recreation initiatives starting for this upcoming summer. We've already started working on park improvements to incorporate pickleball, food vendors, and old school games to tie in with those improvements. We're excited to announce that the city has been working with a dedicated group of volunteers who are committed to bringing a destination playground with universally accessible components to the city of Bay City. We're excited to say that this playground will be located at Vets Park, where it will be a highly visible destination for families in our region. Progression is also being made on the Riverbend West project. Most of you know this piece of property as the Dwan property. The Riverbend West project represents an involved multi-year process to rediscover the last remaining section of undeveloped shoreline on the Saginaw River. Development of the site will be an extensive process to allow for its final opening to the public as a new rustic natural area. This property conforms to the Bay City's riverfront visioning, which will create public riverfront green space. This project is being led by the Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy, and they raised about $325,000 to date. The Saginaw Basin Land Conservancy is a wonderful partner with the city who has helped us with our rail trails, our parks, and our airport. During my first State of the City speech 2 years ago, I stressed that we need positive leadership, not negative. We need good news stories by everyone, not negative. We need to spread the good, positive news about our city, and we recognize the value of telling our positive, good stories. So we recently added a marketing specialist to our team to help promote and educate our residents. We have a good story to tell, and we hired Rebecca Sir to fill that role. You may recognize her name. She comes to us from WJRT ABC 12, where she served as the anchor, producer, and reporter. So I'm happy to announce that we have Rebecca on the city team. Thank you for coming to us. Another great education piece for our residents is the creation of our welcome packets. This past summer, we had college interns create the packets, which are now being distributed to all home closings to educate our residents on the city services available to them. We also created a developer's handbook to assist developers on a step-by-step navigation through the city processes. Okay, let's talk about bridges. So this past year was a monumental one for Bay City. And I say monumental because this commission took a stance that came with many opinions galore. We had many public meetings listening to residents and business owners. The chamber did polls for us. We had consultants looking at different ways of doing things. We met with the county. We met with Michigan Department of Transportation. Hundreds of hours were spent on this important issue. We watched helplessly as Bay City came to a standstill this past summer when not only one bridge was open, but two. City Hall and Commissioner phones were nonstop for months. And let me tell you, people were not shy about telling us what to do to solve the bridge financial issues. We couldn't go out to lunch, to dinner, to church, or even grocery shop without someone bringing up the bridges. But that's okay. It's good to see government working in that fashion. After going out for requests for proposals this past summer, the City Commission unanimously approved an acquisition and development agreement with Bay City Bridge Partners. That vote was a culmination of many years of deliberation and careful planning. The reality is that these bridges need to be fixed, or in the case of Independence Bridge, replaced. The agreement represents the most sensible approach to ensuring that critical repairs are made while allowing the city to focus its resources on other infrastructure projects that are a vital component to the daily lives of our residents, businesses, and our visitors. After the transition period concludes, the plan calls for the Bay City Bridge Partners to commit to a multi-million-dollar replacement of the Independence Bridge, which is currently deemed structurally deficient. A new span will be added to the east of the existing bridge, raising its vertical height up by 12 feet to reduce bridge openings associated with smaller recreational watercraft. The Liberty Bridge will also benefit from significant investment for the rehabilitation and modernization, including updates to its mechanical and electrical system. With an investment of over $100 million, this will truly attract and promote other economic development in our area. Bay City Bridge Partners has committed to being part of our community, and we applaud them for that. In closing, last month, Bay City lost a leader. She was a true believer in this city. She believed in all the good that this city has to offer. She saw things before most of us did and carried that vision out quietly. Peg Rowley was and continues to be an inspiration to all of us. The Rowleys were the first to greet me when I came to Bay City 20 years ago, and I love their enthusiasm for this city. Shortly after I became city manager, Paul took me out to breakfast, and he had a list of to-dos for me. I'm sure everybody remembers that he always has a list of things. But I knew when I walked away from that breakfast, that list was Peg's, that wasn't Paul's. So with her inspiration, we will continue working every day to make our state of our city stronger and to stand firm on what we believe is good for our community. Thank you.
No, you're fine. Jim, I'd like to invite you back up to these comfy seats up here. Anybody that has any questions on the index cards, please raise those and keep them raised, and somebody from the chamber will come and grab them from you. So, okay, and then at this time, I get the pleasure to introduce Seth Perigo, Community President of the Great Lakes Bay Region for Huntington Bank. I'd hate to see your business cards. It's long. And I'd like to invite Seth to the stage as well now. Thank you.
Thank you for having me today to mediate this Q&A process. If you please keep the questions coming. Okay, the first question is, our riverfront was and is underwater most of 2019. What is the plan for 2020, and can the state or federal government help us?
We don't know if Jim's mic is on here, but we will. I can start by saying, with the help of Glenn Rowley, he has really pushed this issue with the high water levels, and the city itself has really sustained a lot of damage. Like I said, in our parks, in our river walk, our sewers, we have that issue when it does rain. There's nowhere for the water to go. And we get people that do call us all the time wanting us to help them, but we don't have anywhere to put that water. So we are looking for that relief from our federal and state legislators. I think our city commission already approved a resolution to support that. Conrelli had forwarded to us, and I believe the county did the same.
Yeah, thank you. I had a little problem with the mic, but thank you very much for being on the so it really is a critical situation we'll be facing this summer and possibly early spring. The 12 or 11 inches of pipe in the Lake Huron, Lake Michigan basins. These will be looking at 2 to 3 feet, depending on major rain events like we saw in 2018, or strong northeastern winds which will push that water up the Colcall and Saginaw rivers. And Noah said possibly even possibly over M25. We expect significant property and private property infrastructure damage, as well as public infrastructure as well. So our emergency management director, Ryan Mans, has been working closely with Supervisor Rowley, other township officials, and our county elected officials as well. But Glenn really has taken the lead on this because of what we experienced in 2018 and the damage on the Colcall River. So it's absolutely critical that we be prepared as possible for evacuation plans for residents that may be able to be needed. And some people think, well, it's just the shoreline. But when we get a main event like we're expecting, it will impact a lot of residents in Bay County that aren't near rivers or shorelines. So we're trying to be as best prepared as we can be, hoping for the best, but expecting the worst.
Very good. Next question. Bay City has seen significant investment in recent years with a trend to continue for the foreseeable future. What impact do you see that these investments have on the image of Bay City across the state and the region?
I believe actually it would be a great impact. I think people want to see what we have going on here in Bay City. I mean, we really do have a good story to tell in Bay City. And the few people, the keyboard cowboys, as I like to call them, the things that they put out there on Facebook, most of it, 90% of it's not true. I mean, we have such a good story to tell here in Bay City. And like I said earlier, I think it's something that we need to all do. I mean, we're all business leaders. We need to push that story out and let these other companies know that, you know, this is the place that they should be working and having their employees live. And just like this company that's coming to Bay City, I mean, it's a good story because Bay Future and our city staff worked with them over the past year, and we were in competition with other locations. So they saw something that we all see, that we are a good place to be.
I would agree with Amy's response. Incredible investments have been made in downtown Bay City and some throughout the county, and we're very proud of that. And we can take advantage of that by the really quaint, I think, reputation that Bay City has and the wonderful legacy and history of the lumber era, the shipbuilding industry, and all of the great things that have happened here in Bay County. We have a history to be proud of. We have some challenges going forward, but the more we're all on the same page and risking those investments to enhance the quality of life for residents, and not only residents, but all those people who visit Bay County. And I know Dana and I were talking a while back, a few years ago after the last presidential election, the program director called to ask if we would want to comment on the election results in Bay County, a traditionally Democratic blue county, not voting that way in 2016. And so Nicole Wallace and Jake Whitten came up, and Jake is the program director for CBS Television and is the producer of the Today Show. And it was amazing how much he knew about Bay City. He has a condo in Traverse City. He said, Jim, every time I go up to my condo, I always stop into the Antique Center and for a lunch in one of your wonderful restaurants in downtown Bay City. So here's a guy in New York City who has a critical role in a national media publication who's intimately familiar with Bay City and its history and the businesses and opportunities we have to offer. So I was impressed with that. And I know there are many, many, many other people who really appreciate Bay City and Bay County.
Okay, in that same vein of investment, Dana, are there plans to explore making Bay City a 5G city or bring 5G technology to areas of the city and or the county?
So we have been talking about that. Actually, we obviously have been having vendors that have been approaching us about that, and we're doing some right-of-way work for that capability to do that. But we are trying to piggyback on some of the other cities that are jumping on that too. At this point, I mean, we're early in the game, but we do know that that's a big incentive for businesses to come to our city. So we're very well aware of that.
You mentioned the Uptown development. What is being built in the former FP Horak and Sons property? I see dirt moving today, exclamation point.
Infrastructure. We don't know yet. I know everybody's trying to get that out of me. Someone asked me that earlier. What's going on there? So right now, they're just working on the infrastructure in the ground. I can just say that it's mixed use that's coming for that, which involves, you know, condos, apartments, offices, things of that matter. But at this point, we don't have a specific business coming into that.
I'd be remiss if I didn't ask at least one bridge question. So what is the latest with the Lafayette Bridge project with MDOT placing it on hold?
Well, I can't really speak for MDOT, but I think you know as much as we do. We got the press release saying that they were putting it on hold due to the bid amount that came in. It was almost double of what they had projected. And you have to remember, when MDOT does a project in any city or any township, we have to do a 5% share of that. So they were very cognizant of the city's budget. We were not able to handle our 5% of that new amount for that bridge. So they were going back to the drawing board, is my understanding, and put that bid out again. So it's going to be probably a couple years again until we hear what they're doing on that bridge.
And as a former member of the Vice Chair of the Transportation Appropriations Committee in Lansing, I was concerned when I heard that they were pulling back a little bit. But I know that the governor now, with her approval for the bonding from the Michigan Transportation Commission, is now, I think there will be 11 projects in Bay County, but they have to be state projects under the law because of the state bonding. But that will take a little bit of pressure off you know, some of these major projects. It won't help local or township roads or county roads, but it will help tackle some of the big expensive projects that need attention. Hopefully with the bonding, hopefully we'll hear in the not too distant future that Lafayette is back on the agenda. But I was concerned when as I'm sure we all were when we heard that Lafayette was put on hold. We do know what it's like when one or two of our bridges are down. It takes me 45 minutes to cross town, and all of you as well. When we're down to Lafayette, and we're having trouble with Independence. And then the pothole, I think, of the issue that we had on Liberty. So, you know, with that, hopefully we will proceed ahead, and the legislature will yet take up, hopefully, a package of legislation to address the needs of local and primary roads throughout the state.
All right. Switching gears, when should we expect our new districts to be finalized and enacted, the redrawing?
Well, I'll start. As you know, the voters in 2018 approved, the voters, not politicians, on redistricting, and I was a victim of redistricting. My old 5th district was 600 miles long, went from Alpena all the way to Port Huron, 10 counties, 700,000 people long, kind of large geographic district, but with Michigan lost a congressional seat, there were some other politics that came into play, not really involving me, but reconfiguring districts to settle scores with with our House Democratic leader David Bonner. So all the thumb got pulled down in Macomb County, and everything north of Colquhoun and even Myers and Wilder Road was in the first district, which the other end was the Wisconsin border. So I lost basically 85% of the congressional district I represented. So then I returned to the state Senate, where I enjoyed that tenure there. But a lot is at stake in terms of distribution of federal resources based on census data. And it's so essential that every person get counted, as well as our representation in Lansing and Washington.
Mental health is an issue that is very important across our country. Any programs in the works to address mental health issues here in the city and the county?
Well, I know that our health department does its best to try to help with our residents who have, emotional issues or in some cases, mild mental health issues. We encounter those folks, and we try to direct them, to the care that they are entitled to. It's very expensive care, but I know that we need not just Bay County, not just Michigan, but the entire country. We follow the news. Government is not really stepping up to the plate in terms of identifying individuals who could represent a danger to the public, but also just the environment they have with their family, their close associates, and the ability to get along and be productive citizens. So while we at the local level don't have the resources probably to adequately fund a comprehensive mental health system, we can continue to weigh in with our state and federal legislators to try to make sure that people who need a little bit of help get that help and avert tragedies or unfortunate circumstances that do occur when some people are emotionally distraught or having other mental issues that they can't deal with.
If I can add too about the mental health, that plays in a lot to the blight issue that we have in Bay City. We find that is one of the spin-offs of mental health, is having the blight in your home. And I know our community development department is working hard and trying to find help for the people. And most of the time, honestly, it's people don't know how to take care of their yards or their front porches or their homes. And it's a matter of just teaching them on how to do that. And I know that Debbie Kiesel has looked into programs for people like that, but it's a form of mental health. And in our public safety as well, they encounter that every day, and they're able to refer them to the limited help that we have here in Bay County.
Under the topic of blight, what is the city doing to better balance code enforcement of blight and disinvestment with enforcement of those investing in properties in the community? That's a long one, I got it. What is the city doing? They're asking for the balance between code enforcement of the ones that are involved with the blight and the disinvestments with those who are actually investing into the properties in the community.
Sure. Well, I can tell you that most of the people who are investing in buying these homes that are close to being demolished or need a major rehab, they're the ones that we want in our city. Those are the ones that we want to buy our homes. And they do not usually get a letter from code enforcement or a visit to their front door. We have a very systematic way of working with people who have blight. I'll be honest, the code enforcement department is much more patient than I am with some of the issues, because I feel for some of our neighbors that have to live next door to someone who does not take care of their property for 30, 60, 90 days. But that is part of the process. People have to have patience, that we have to give them time and the resources to help with their blight issue. But once again, the people that are investing in our community are the ones that are trying to help us with that blight issue.
And if I could just add, I want to applaud Dana, the mayor, and all the commissioners for the aggressive stance they've taken on addressing blight in the city. And we have it throughout the county as well. I also want to mention that Shauna Walraven, the chair of our Bay County Land Bank and treasurer of Bay County, has also been aggressive at talking to me and to some of the commissioners, I think, today about searching for resources that Bay County government can also include. I know Bay City has been successful in achieving some major grants from the federal government on elimination of blight. It is important because it lowers our property tax values and the revenue that we have to provide quality services for all of our residents. So when a neighborhood, the entire neighborhood gets blighted, it really takes a toll on local government's budgets, townships, counties, cities. And so it's really important, and it's one that in Bay County we need to try to step up and provide additional resources to the land bank in terms of the important work they're doing, but also being aggressive at seeking whatever federal grants the county land bank could also be successful in receiving.
This is the last question. It's a culmination of several on the same topic. It involves with Bay Future. As the economic development organization of the city and the county, what are the plans for both the city and the county from an investment standpoint for the foreseeable future?
We're talking about the investment in the Bay Future?
Yeah.
Well, our city commission has already committed, and it's a public amount, we've committed $75,000 to their campaign, which is over the next 5 years. Our city has made it very clear, our commissioners, that we're very committed to Bay Future and their endeavors for our county. So I encourage all of you, if you're getting a call from someone at Bay Future, because I know we're still doing some calls, if you need to meet with somebody on the board, that we'd be glad to meet with you and talk to you about their endeavors.
Yeah, thank you, Dana. We too in Bay County are looking at how we can do more to support economic development. As one of the campaign leaders for Bay Future, along with Dana, Pete Shaheen, and Clarence Sevilla, and others, we certainly recognize the importance of Bay Future and the great job it's done and the vital role it will play in addressing future declining population in Bay County, losing our millennial and younger people to Oakland County, Macomb County, or God forbid, out of state. I talked to one small businessman that I've known for 30 years, 25 years. Great owns a small business, talking to him last week. He mentioned that he had 4 children, and all 4 children were out of state. Because they had, great opportunities over there. And that's not typical, but that's not something we want to hear very, very often. So Bay County we're a platinum sponsor. We're going to try to do more to support economic development, but we do have a legal issue that dates back to 2010 in terms of how we can do more directly with Bay Future, but we intend to indirectly support strongly Bay Future's efforts moving forward. And it's imperative that they succeed. We can turn what could be more severe challenges in the future into opportunities for us to grow and prosper and have the kind of future that we all want in this room. Everyone that's here today cares about the future of Bay City and Bay County, and I want to thank you for being here today to share your comments and your questions. And I look forward to, at the end of the program, talking with a few of you and seeing you regularly out in the community as well. Be sure to share your opinions and your concerns, because that's the only way we can do a good job.
Okay, with that concludes our Q&A session of the program. I would like to thank Dana and Jim for your time. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Seth.
With that, I would like to introduce Ryan Tarrant, the President and CEO of the Bay Area Chamber of Commerce, for closing remarks. Ryan?
So I've got 11 minutes left. Everybody knows what that means who's been to a Bay Chamber event. We're getting out early. Thank you again to Dana Muscat and Jim Barsha for your comments, for being up here in the line of fire today. How about one more round of applause for the two of them? I'd also like to thank our sponsors and our moderator today, Seth Perigo. I think Seth believes that we asked him to moderate because he's tall and handsome. He's half right. I'll let you decide, but I really don't like moving the microphone once I get up here. And thank you all to attending today after our traditional State of the Community snowstorm last night. You may have noticed the room today is a little bit more full than it has been in the past. That's because the interest and engagement in this event is up nearly 30% over the last 2 years. So you kind of look at that and say, why, right? You know, we'd like to think that, you know, partly it's because of all the nice things the Bay Chamber does, and that we've made a concerted effort to communicate more with you, with our members. But more so, I think it's because this has become a much more business-friendly community over the past several years. We have a forward-thinking leadership at the city level that's enabled itself to double its spending on roads over the next several years and add, I know Dana said, a multi-million-dollar private infrastructure project, but I think that's measured in the tens of millions of dollars. And the county's doing the same by initiating conversations about how they can do more on economic development investment, because we all recognize that the best way to recruit and retain talent in the Bay Area is to have good jobs available for them. One last announcement to make for those with an interest. The Michigan presidential primary is March 10th. Next Friday, February 28th, we will welcome former Democrat State Party Chairman Brandon Dillon, who I believe was also Jim Barsha's Chief of Staff in the State Senate, as our featured speaker for this year's first Leading the Way. He'll be providing an election outlook for both the primary and general elections this year, which includes presidential, U.S. Senate, congressional, state house, and county elections. For anybody in politics, it's kind of like the Super Bowl for us. So, and you know, everybody knows that we always try and balance everything, so we have a former Democrat State Party Chairman coming in to talk about it from his perspective with the upcoming presidential primary. On the Republican side, the president will win Michigan for the primary, so you heard it here first. He is unopposed. With that, thank you, have a good day, and drive safely.